I got a question for you. Not even one that I want to ask you. I want to give it to you. The reason I want to give you this question, because when you use it, when you wield it like the weapon that it is, it holds the power to attack some of the biggest challenges that you have in your life across all dimensions of life. Let's talk about it.
The Creator Podcast.
My name is Dion Williams, aka Dion Does, and I truly believe that we were all created in the image of the ultimate creator, and therefore it's in us all to create. And this show aims to help you and I both level up in this four-dimensional game of life so that we can go out and create for good, whether that's for ourselves, our family, the community around us, but all of this a part of a generational vision of a family of creators coming together to be the difference. Creator family, welcome back. It's something about this beat, man. People have asked, like, is there anywhere I could buy it, anywhere I can download it? No, not at the moment. I don't know. We need to do something with it, though. Right? I bought it, and oh my Lord, it just speaks to the soul. Just when it comes on, I feel empowered. And especially with the topic that we're going to talk about today, I actually went into this feeling some kind of way. Like, I kind of had a bit of I was upset. I was not more like towards the angry side. Like I was mad. But when this beat hit, man, you can't help but just vibe out. All right. I'll listen to that on repeat, the whole episode. And that would be a fire episode. I might need to do that, huh? One episode, I just give y'all the beat, and that could be what y'all go to when you need to listen. When you listen to it, just go to that episode. Now, I talked about a question, a really, really good question, man. And this question was taught to me by my mother-in-law, who's a very, very, very smart woman. Hold up, I think the air just came on. Before we even get into this, let me stop that so it's not making noise in the background. But this question, man, I'm not even going to beat around the bush. The question is, and I'm going to ask it as if I was asking it to myself, and this is how I want you to use this question, and it is, what am I making this mean? Right? And if I was asking you, maybe you were telling me about something, I said, okay, cool. So what are you making that mean exactly? And man, that question has power in it. I'm going to explain it, but don't miss this. Do not miss this. This question has stopped me in my tracks. Sometimes I'm like really mad, really sad, really disappointed, whatever it is, because, and I love it. It's a great creator question because it gives us the correct perspective, right? And here's when you want to use this. And I haven't even got to the principle yet. I'm going to get to the principle here in a little bit. But you want to use it anytime you feel the emotions rising. Okay? You're starting to feel emotional. So for me, example, I just had an interaction where I left it kind of feeling a little, I can be confrontational. And I've come so far, but my default is like, I just want the smoke 24/7. I'm like, what'd you say? What? Huh? Oh, word? What about my mama? Like, I'm just on go, ready. Someone could be just trying to tell me how nice they day is, and I'm listening to feel disrespect, and I'm ready to go there. And so I'm always constantly battling that. And where I'm at now, I rarely ever snap on anyone or lash out, but I can just feel it rising up sometimes, and I got to catch it. And I had an interaction. I felt some sort of way. And I had paused, though. I said, hold up, what am I making this mean right now? Because sometimes we make it mean something that's not actually the truth or what's really going on. All right, the air just shut off. So I don't even know if you guys can really hear that background noise, but I can, and it bothers me. So, for example, this has helped me a lot in my marriage, right? So there will be times where my wife might do something, I want to get mad about it. But then I slow down. And again, my mother-in-law taught me this. I don't even remember exactly what was going on. I might have been having an issue with my wife. I don't remember. But when you ask yourself that, so like, let's say, and I'm coming up with this on the fly, but let's say I feel like my wife was like being rude to me or she wasn't paying attention. You know what I mean? And so I'm upset. Maybe I gotta go. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym or whatever. I'm mad and I'm lifting. I'm like, man, she don't give a fluff about me. She don't be paying attention. All she care about is herself, right? And that's what I'm making it mean. But and then a follow-up question that almost just it comes natural for me now. But then the follow-up is like, okay, are there any other possible explanations? Right? So I could be maybe my wife really wasn't paying attention as much or as focused on what I was saying. And I could be making that mean in my head that she just doesn't care and whatever I want to make it mean. But in reality, there's other possibilities. Maybe, and this has happened, she's had really bad days with her health where her head is on fire, her whole body. Like my wife can get into flares with her pain where like everything on her body is hurting, even her fingertips, like everything. I can imagine it's kind of hard to focus on what someone's saying if your fingertips hurt and your toes hurt and your arms and your shoulders and sometimes you'll be like, yo, my eyelids hurt. I'm like, how your eyelids hurt? What? Right? And maybe that's it. And so when we get that new perspective, right, you're able to, first off, get closer to the truth, but it changes how you feel about a lot of things because you stop making it about you, right? Let's say you heard your neighbor, let's say you live in like an apartment and you heard your neighbor upstairs crying really loud and it's bothering you. You're like, I'm trying to sleep. Like, I feel like you'd be a dirtbag anyway if you heard like someone crying and you were mad about it. But who knows? Maybe they're crying. You're like, oh, they broke up with their boyfriend or whatever. Right? And that's the story you're telling yourself, which is our principle coming to us via Mr. Tony Robbins through a quote that says, we are defined by the stories we tell ourselves. AKA, what do we make things mean? That's the same thing. Like, what are the stories? What is the story you're telling yourself about the situation? But then let's say maybe you found out that person was upstairs crying because their mom, their dad, and their daughter died in a car accident or something. Then you become a little bit more understanding, a little more empathetic, and you're like, whoa, yo, cry as much as you need. I'm sorry. And it doesn't always have to be that dramatic, but sometimes when we can learn to just pause in the moment and remind ourselves with the question, hold up, what am I making this mean right now? When someone was rude, what story do you want to tell yourself? That you know what? They're just an evil, horrible person. Or, and here's what I've been doing a lot lately. I'll be like, yo, this is an opportunity maybe for me to show the love of Christ. Some of the coolest stories I have are from people that were being really, really mean to me. And I continued and persevered and was nice to them. And they ended up being like, yo, I'm kind of interested in this God stuff that you talk about now. Because if I knew I was being a dirtbag, and the fact that you were able to continue to be nice to me when I, like, even as I was being mean to you, I didn't even feel like I deserved that. So how do I get involved in church, right? I want some of what you got that allowed you to do that. And so that's one opportunity. But even for me, a lot of the story I'm telling myself a lot lately is this is an opportunity for me to grow as a leader, grow in my patience, whatever it may be, right? It depends. Maybe it's a tough situation where I feel like I do have to be patient with someone that I don't really want to deal with. And I may not be currently equipped with the amount of patience to deal with them. The story I tell myself and what I make it mean is like, okay, I'm in practice mode right now. I'm on the practice field. This is how I'm going to become the man that I'm called to be, right? We talked about visualizing in a previous episode. The man that I believe that I'm called to be, the things that I'm called to do, I'm not that guy right now, right? I have all the potential in the world. I've grown in so many areas, and I continue to grow. But there's levels I got to get to that I'm not at yet. Some of them I'm far from, and I'm very aware of that. And so I use these opportunities because I know I'm not going to get there it's not going to be magic. Right? I'm going to have to go through some things. I'm going to have to overcome some stuff. If I want a lot of patience, my patience will be tested. And so these are the stories that I'm constantly telling myself. And I want to leave this here. We can go very, very deep with this question, and you can really start asking that everywhere. But for the sake of just this episode, I'm keeping it in the context of your relationships. And when you get emotional or you feel some sort of way, simple question I want you to ask yourself, what am I making this mean right now? The homework today will be simple. If you have something that's going on, whether it's a grudge you know you're holding on with someone, you're holding on to with someone, or just something that happened recently that you really haven't got over, maybe you're struggling to forgive someone, ask yourself, what are you making it mean? And that doesn't mean you have to go justify everyone's actions, right? Someone could have been rude to you because they had the worst day ever. They weren't even thinking about you. That doesn't justify it. It's not like, oh, it's okay for you to be mean, right? Let's say their dog died and you were a jerk to me. I can 100% understand that. I can forgive that. We can move on. It also still doesn't make it right that you were mean. It's not okay. So I'm not trying to justify anyone here, but what is it going to do for you to be mad? And what is it going to be for how does that serve you? The answer is it doesn't. And so what's a better perspective, a better view we can get on this thing? So that's what I want you to do. If you have something blatant, clear that's going on, for some of you guys, you might have to tuck this in your pocket, because I know you're human. You may be all smiles today, but tomorrow will come, or next week will come, and someone gonna find a way. But don't think this is reserved for only the biggest of arguments or frustrations, right? Like, my interaction today wasn't that big a deal. Like, I don't need to sit down and have a talk with someone. I don't need to fight no one. It was just like, oh, I feel some sort of way. Now hold up, let me recalibrate. Let me think about this. What am I making it mean? Did they mean it that way? Because I'm taking this like they tried to hurt my feelings. That's not even true. But I felt like they were acting selfishly against me. And I'm like, hold up. Maybe that wasn't even their angle. Maybe it was something else, right? And then when you start looking at it, almost like if you have something in front of you, imagine like a phone or something, just picking it up and getting really curious, looking at all the edges, trying to find any creases, any things that you haven't seen before on your phone. Like, oh, you're like, I didn't even know my phone had a little dent right there. Like, that's how you use this question, as you're just looking at the interaction and saying, Am I right with what I'm making this mean, or is there another possible story that I can tell myself? Because remember, we are defined by the stories we tell ourselves. I promise you, we will be back to that, and we will talk about that from different angles, but that's very, very important. The story you tell yourself in your relationships. Also across all 4 of the dimensions of life, but we're going to keep it, strictly to the relationships today. When you have this question, you really become better in all of your relationships, because it gets really, really hard to offend you. It gets really, really hard for people to have any kind of emotional control over you, because you got this weapon now, this question that you use to fight all of that. Okay? And again, like I said, you can experiment using this question other places. We'll save that for other episodes. I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you guys check out freecreatorcode.com. Get the code that it is that we live by here as creators with this movement. It's the perfect complement to every little nugget that you're getting from these episodes. Lay that on top of the foundation of the code. That's why I mention it every episode. The code is the foundation to live in this creator lifestyle, having that identity as a creator. And if you're struggling with that, trying to implement it with these podcast episodes, it's probably because you don't have the code, you're not reading the code, you don't have it printed out, and you're not trying to master that. That is the key. But I love you guys. You guys stay safe. I will catch you guys tomorrow. God first. God bless.